Yes, good boy, good. Yes, good boy, good.
What if I told you that there was a simple way that you could teach your dog to stop pulling on the leash? In this video, Instructor Steve is going to show you the simple steps to stop that leash pulling fast. I'm Ken Steep.
I'm Steve Walsh.
Welcome back to McCann Dogs. Every single week here in our training facility, we help more than 500 dog owners who are just like you to overcome their dog training challenges. So if this is your first time on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that we can help you to have a well-behaved, four-legged family member.
Now, we often spend a ton of time with our young dogs teaching them to walk at our left-hand side, but I also want my young dog to know that even if he's not at my left-hand side, even if he's just hanging out with me, that he shouldn't pull on the leash. And we're gonna take a few minutes now to teach little Final here a few steps to build a little bit more value for me and teach him not to pull on the leash ever. Now, often the question is, what's the difference? Why does it matter if my dog understands not to pull on the leash? Hey, buddy, apparently our tail is quite fun right now. Having my dog understand that they shouldn't pull on the leash is very handy when I'm maybe just around the house or even around the neighborhood talking to a friend. If I happen to take a couple of steps, hey buddy, okay with me? And move and want to talk to even you guys. He knows that he shouldn't pull on the leash and he understands there's a little bit of value from moving with me. If I move to the left or the right, he understands that he should just kind of hang out. Good boy, yes, excellent job. So he's really starting to get a good understanding of this, but I want to go back and show you the steps on how we got to this point. Now, it may seem like Final knows this really, really well, and he's starting to get a really good understanding of it, but I've spent a lot of time doing some of the basics again, letting him know first and foremost that there's some value for me, not only for me and my person and my striking personality, but also some great rewards and some stuff that he's really, really interested in, okay? I spend a lot of time rewarding my dog, reinforcing the fact that I'm actually here. Anytime I tend to give him a treat, he is generally pointed towards me. I am delivering that food from up high near my face down towards him. He's not looking elsewhere in the room when I'm putting food in his face, or I'm not just taking food out of my bait pouch and delivering it to his face, really letting him understand that really good things come from here. Because Final is starting to understand that good things come from me and I have some value to him, now is when I'm going to start to add a little bit of a little teeny bit of motion to really help him make a choice, and I'm going to help him make a right choice. And the right choice I'm looking for is for him to simply not pull on the leash. That doesn't mean he has to stand, sit, or lie down. He just has to keep the leash loose. Now, when you have a busy puppy, that's a pretty tall order. And I know you're probably shaking your head saying that's not going to happen, but here's how we're going to do it. We are going to get a little bit of food in our hands. And when I do this, I'm going to encourage you to actually move in a manner that moves your dog away from your left-hand side. They can be anywhere as long as they don't pull on the leash. I'm going to start by giving him a command. Now, I say with me, you can say stay close, you can stay whatever you like, and I'm going to take one step. I'm going to take one step and I'm going to pause. And as long as he pauses with me, I'm going to simply say yes and reward him. The nice thing is he figures out pretty quickly that staying with me gets the treat. So it looks like this, with me. Yes, good boy. 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 So you notice by moving in a manner that encourages his focus by pretty much either backing away or moving side to side, A, it's easier for him to be right, and B, it's easier for me to keep that reinforcement focused on me. After I've spent some time taking one step at a time, I'm going to start to move a little bit more. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're going to start to move all over the place and think your dog understands it. I still need to break it into little bits to help my dog be successful. So in my mind, 2 or 3 steps maximum, and then I pause. And the pause allows my dog to do one of 2 things, either to pause with me or to pull on this leash. Now, you'll notice he pulled on the leash to that side. I didn't say anything. I just took my hand to the leash and gave a little bump, bump, bump on that leash until he checked back in with me, okay? And I just waited a second. I didn't praise him yet because he hadn't checked in with me. I want my dog to know that the value is here. And if you pull on the leash, there's just little mild little consequences. There's just some bumps on that leash. So we're going to go and oh, he's pulling again. So here's what it looks like. A little bump, bump, bump. Hi, buddy. That's better. Good job. Yes. Now I can yes and feed him. The hardest part about teaching my dog not to pull on the leash is being conscious to address it every time the dog does. I'm building some value for him not pulling on the leash, but if he does, I'm not waiting until he's pulled away to go see a dog and it's a really, really big fix. It's a quick little fix, a quick bump on the leash to regain his focus on me, and then I can praise him. Good boy, good job. Now I'm gonna try those couple of steps. I've got a little food in my hand again, but it's not on his nose to start. It's up out of the way to help him make a choice. You ready? Good boy. With me. 1, 2. Yes, good boy. Good job. I can take out another treat. Try it again. 1, 2. Yes, good boy. Maybe I move forward a step. With me. Yes, good boy. With me. Yes, good boy, buddy. Now you notice he was going to sit there. That's fine. I didn't ask him to sit. His only job is not to pull on the leash. Now, after a little bit of that work, you can see that Final is really starting to understand this. He is understanding that his job is not to pull on the leash. And even though he's hanging out with me here, he's being conscious to not pull on the leash. I'm going to make things a little bit harder so that I can show you guys how to fix this kind of thing. Okay? He's not really pulling, but there's some tension there. So I'm going to set up a couple things and we're going to work through that. Now, because he's starting to get an understanding of it, I need to now proof it through different things that may cause him to pull on the leash. Now, I've got some great toys here. He seems interested in those, and I also have this little container with food, and you may remember this container of food from our Leave It video. I'm going to put these down on the ground. Now, I'm going to be very specific about where I put them. You can see he's quite interested in these. I'm going to put them fairly far away. My leash is a 6-foot leash. I'm going to make sure first and foremost he can't reward himself for going for those toys, and we're going to go to this because he's really excited right now. Now, I've put these distractions down on the ground pretty strategically. I've placed them far enough away that my dog can't get to them, but yet still close enough that they're interesting to my dog. Now, Final, sit. I'm going to have him sit for a second while I talk to you guys. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the exact same approach. I'm going to get a little food in my hand. I'm going to give him that little with me command. I'm going to take a step maybe to my left this time, and I'm just going to pause. As long as he pauses with me, you better believe I'm going to quickly yes and reward. Again, maintaining that focus on me by rewarding from my person down to his. Okay. Here's the other side of the coin though. If my dog decides to go and pull on the leash and adds any tension, I'm simply going to turn and face him, and with my leash hand at his head level, I'm just going to add some pulses on the leash until he turns and looks at me. And then I'm going to praise him because I want him to know when he's looking at me and moving towards me, good things happen. However, the moment the leash goes tight, I add some firm pulses on the leash and we continue on from there. Like anything else, if my dog is making lots of mistakes and pulling and pulling and pulling, I need to move further away from those distractions to help my dogs be correct. My goal is to teach my dog, not have them make mistake after mistake. So here's what it's going to look like, okay? He's shifted position. So I'm going to go this way now, okay? So I've got food in my hand with me. Yes, good boy. Now he made an excellent choice there. I am actually going to jackpot reward him with 2 or 3 treats. Good boy, good job. With me. Good boy. Yes, good job. I'm going to make this a little harder again. With me. Good boy. Yes. Oh, you're being a superstar right now. I got you. Yes, I did. So perfect. I moved to this toy. He went, hey, a new toy. I'm going to pull on my leash. I didn't say anything. I'm not yelling or screaming. A few quick pulses on the leash and he instantly turned, and then I praised him. So I'm going to go right back to that toy now and see if we can be a little bit more successful. With me. Yes, good boy. Excellent boy. Good job. This way. Job. Where are you? Good boy. With me. Oh, little pulse on the leash because I dropped a treat. Good job, buddy. And that can happen. You can drop a piece of food. You can do anything like that that gets the attention. The dogs need to learn that if that leash goes tight, there's just a quick little consequence that gets them back on track. What exactly is the expectation with this? How do I know if my dog's not pulling on leash? Because if the dog's learning it and you're not sure of it, it's important that we help you with that. My expectation is that my dog, okay, buddy, move with me. But you see how this clip is hanging straight up and down with just a little bit of extra slack in that leash. That's what I expect. If there's any sort of tension, the clip starts to move on the leash, which is going to in a second, right here. Bump, bump, bump. I got you. Yes, I did. That was a perfect example of a little tension. Bump, bump, bump. Good boy. With me. Yes, good boy. Excellent. Good job. I'm not waiting until he's pulled and pulled me over to something else and rewarded himself for pulling. I am also definitely not going to let leash out as he pulls. I've set my leash length. I'm teaching him that here is where all the good stuff happens. As long as that clip hangs straight up and down, you're rewarded for it. The moment there's any tension, I simply address it. But again, it's my job to help him be successful so he understands what his job is. Finally, you can see he's starting to get a pretty good understanding of what his job is in terms of keeping the leash loose. But I can tell you that consistency is key. Every time the leash is attached to your dog, if you're conscious that the dog is moving with you and not pulling on the leash, and also rewarding them for not pulling on the leash, that will start to be their default behavior. The more I let them rehearse doing things that I don't want to, the more they're going to. You promote what you permit. I like to keep that in my mind. If you permit them to pull on the leash, they're going to continue to. Now, if you have these same expectations, instead of just doing them in the living room, do them on the front driveway, the front walkway. Add distractions to help your dogs be successful in spite of those distractions. Now, having your dog understand that they shouldn't pull on the leash is a really valuable life skill. That is also very different though than teaching my dog to walk at my left-hand side. And if you're interested in learning about that, click that card right here. If this is your first time on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Okay, final. Get in, bud. Let's go.